The following program is being brought to you on the Seventh Wave Network. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit seventhwavenetwork.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Empowering Your Soul with Lisa Ouellet. If you're ready to make personal changes in your life and the lives of those around you, get ready for an hour of encouragement, enlightened guests, and engaging stories. Now, here is your host, Lisa Ouellet.
Good afternoon and welcome to Empowering Your Soul. I'm Lisa Ouellet. Today I have on with me an exciting show that I'm so very excited about. I have a show on palmistry with Frederique Herel, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. I did want to take a moment though and say thank you so much for my guest last week, Susan Feinblum. She wrote Clairvoyant Psychotherapy, and we talked a lot about that. I had such a lot of positive response about that show, and I wanted to just pass along to everybody listening. Thank you so much for writing in. I always appreciate your comments and your emails, so keep doing that. Keep messaging me at lisawillett@comcast.net or sending to me through my host page. I love to hear comments about every single show, and that helps me know what you like to hear. So as I was getting ready today, I'm laying in bed this morning thinking about today's show because it's a show I'm so excited about doing. And I'm laying in bed and I'm having my moment of gratitude. I'm doing my attitude of gratitude. I was so grateful today. It's a beautiful fall day. I heard the birds chirping through the windows and the sun was shining down. I live in New Hampshire, so the trees are changing color. It's fall. It's beautiful. I couldn't see that, but as I woke up and I'm walking around, I can definitely see out the windows. It feels like a nice fall day. I'm excited. I'm going to a fair later today, the nice fall fair. There's so much to be grateful for. So I want everybody out there to just take a moment and just be appreciative of the things that they have. Even if things aren't going your way, always be appreciative of the few good things that you have going on. And the more that you appreciate the good, the more you'll bring that in to have more abundance coming your way. So I just wanted to pass that message along. All right, today is September 26th, and my show is on palmistry. I have with me palmist Frederique Herel. She's been studying hands and giving palmistry-based counseling since 1989. She stays away from traditional fortune-telling approach, but she uses palmistry as a psychological and self-improvement tool. And over the years, through seminars and private consultations, she's increased many men and women's self-awareness and has helped them to improve their lives. She's appeared on a variety of television and radio shows where she's often performed live hand analysis, which we're so fortunate she's going to do a few palms on the show today. Frederique has also authored a few palmistry ebooks on topics such as What Should I Do with My Life, How to Score with Women, The Secrets of Your Baby's Hands, and Evaluate Your Relationships. Those ebooks are available on her website, which I believe is www.palm-reading.org. And if it's not, she'll share with us the difference later. She's a native of France. She lives in Canada in the Toronto area. And thanks to modern technology, she can provide private hand readings in English or in French anywhere in the world. So again, if you want to reach her after the show, www.palm-reading.org. So thank you so much for being a guest on my show today, Frederique. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I am so glad to be with you.
Did I give your website correctly? Is that your correct website if people want to?
Perfect. I would be able to find it too.
Do you have a different website that people could get hold of you at?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so there's so many questions today, and again, I'm so excited. I know we were talking right before the show started, and we're both excited to be doing the show. So let's start with, if people out there, listeners, do not know what palmistry is, could you tell them basically what is palmistry?
Well, palmistry is the study of the hand as a whole, and it is a science as opposed to fortune-telling, which would be more based on intuition. It's a science which is like a systematic study of a body of knowledge through observation and experiments. This means that if you study in detail, you're able to apply exactly the same thing to all the hand, and it's going to be accurate. every time. Now, the important thing is a lot of people think of palmistry as just reading the lines, but the line is only a very small part of it. I would be looking at the size of the hand, the shape, the flexibility, the texture, the fingers, the mounts of the hands, the lines, the signs. So many different things than just the lines, which makes it a lot more interesting.
How does the shape of the hand or skin texture play a role in the reading then?
It's going to tell a lot about your personality. And we are going to study like 3 sets of hands, and I will actually cover the shape of the hand on one of the examples because it's so specific.
Okay, perfect. So that can tell a lot, not just like you said, not just the lines. Now, also, you talked about the importance of the mount. Is it mount or mound?
The mount.
Okay,
like little mountains. Yeah.
Okay, so
This is actually a very interesting question because first the mounts, when I studied, I was thinking about the mount palmistry. I always thought it was actually a shape of like going up, but a mount can actually be down also, like a valley on your hands. So it's more if you cut your hand in, like if you divide your hands in different area, it's an area of the hand. So let's say like the mount of Jupiter would be the finger of Jupiter plus the pad of flesh, which is part of the palm just under the index finger.
Okay.
Or you would have maybe the mount of Venus, which is actually the ball of the thumb. Or you may have the center of the hand, which is called actually Rahu in the type of palmistry I'm doing. And it is like basically it is more like a valley than a mount, but it would be considered a mount.
Okay.
And the mounts are the type of palmistry I do. It's Vedic palmistry, so it's based on the concept of reincarnation.
Oh.
And the mounts would be more the soil of where the lines, like a little bit like rivers, are going to run. So the mounts would be how your general personality has been shaped over many, many lifetimes. So that would be like more your super conscious mind.
Okay.
Then the major lines, like lifeline, headline, and heartline, would be more like your subconscious mind. And then the different minor lines and signs, this would be more like your conscious mind.
Okay. Now, you said you called it Vedic palmistry?
Vedic.
Okay.
It's based on the Vedas, the bodies of knowledge, which are like Indian books. It used to be actually repeated from mouth to ear, but then it was written, and this has been around for about 4,000 years. So
okay, now you said it's based on reincarnation?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be able to tell by looking at a person's palm then if they're an old soul?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And the way I would do it, first there are a few signs on the hands, like the quadrangle, the general lines, the balance of the hand. This would tell me if they are also. What is happening is that usually young souls are not interested in anything like self-improvement and palmistry. So most of the people who come and see me are already old souls.
That makes sense.
I can sort of confirm it on the hands.
Yeah, that makes sense. So why don't we jump into one of the palms then, if you're willing to do that? So for listeners out there, what I would suggest is maybe you can follow along on your own palms, even though there might be something that she's talking about that you can relate to. If you were one of the few people that sent me in palms and yours wasn't one that was chosen today, please feel free to contact Frederique, for a personal session later on. We had to limit it to a few only because I wanted to be able to make sure that we got to all of the questions so she could explain everything to us too. So pick whichever palm that you'd like, Frederique, and share with us.
I am going to start with Naomi.
Okay.
So Naomi, the point, like on each set of hands, I'm just going to point out a few things so that people can get an idea of what I'm talking about, because it's very hard if you don't have the hands in front of you to actually see. So Naomi, what is very interesting is her fingernails.
Oh, okay.
And if you have the palms in front of you, Lisa, you are going to notice that her fingernails are bitten.
Okay.
And this is a big problem in anybody's life, and of course on the hands. If anybody's biting their hands, they are going to have problem with their nervous system. Because the way it works is you have your brain with all your central nervous system, and then there are all kinds of nerves that go from your brain down your spine and along your arms, and they end up at the end of your fingers.
Oh.
Now, at the end of the fingers, the protection that you have is the fingernails. Fingernails are there to protect the nervous system. So the protection of the nervous system in your brain, of course, is your skull, and the protection of your nervous system in your hands is your fingernails. Now, if you bite your fingernails, it's as if you're actually biting your skull and leaving your brain out in the open.
Ouch.
So a lot of times what happens is when people bite their fingernail, they say, oh, it's because I'm nervous. But they don't realize that the more they bite their fingernails, the more nervous they are going to be.
Understood.
So if you stop biting your fingernails, right away you are going to see changes in your hands, because you are going to, in your hands and in your life, of course, because you are going to feel much more collected and connected.
Sure.
You know, this is, imagine if your nervous system is just out in the open, so anytime you touch something, it's going to frazzle you.
Right,
So this
absolutely.
is anybody who is biting their fingernails, I would say stop, and already your life is going to start changing.
Okay.
Just by this. Now, if we look at the inside of the hand, and I know you have our hands in front of you, in front of us, and we are going to see that inside the palm of the hand there are many, many, many lines, and this is again an expression of the nervousness. This is a person who needs to be more connected, more calm inside.
Okay.
Now, a lot of the time people can appear to be calm, but when I look at the hands, I am going to notice what is really happening inside. And in her case, between the bitten fingernails and the fact that there are many, many lines crossing, like they are not lines that are useful. I'm not talking about the general good signs that you may find in the hand. I'm talking about lines that are just more obstruction lines, or just, as I said, showing that the nervous system is not working as well as it could.
Okay.
So this would be something that confirms what I was seeing on her fingernails.
Okay. So she needs to work with nerves, out her nerves problem. Okay.
Exactly. Like she has other things that tell me also that there is a problem on the fingernail. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
Sure.
I want to talk about something extremely positive that she has in her hand.
Okay.
And this is called a girdle of Venus.
Okay.
It's a beautiful name, isn't it?
Absolutely. Girdle of Venus.
So a girdle of Venus is actually half circle, more or less half circle, like a little smiley, you know, that goes from one side to the other, and it's starting between the forefinger, and it's going around, and is finishing between the ring finger and the pinky. Do you see this shape?
Yes.
So it's like a smiley, as I said. It's a very positive line. And I love to see it on people's hands, and I always ask them, are you doing anything artistic? And if they do, I say, yes, keep doing it. And if they don't, I'll tell them, you have to do it, because it gives you a special gift. And the gift is the ability to go deep into the soul of humankind in order to express it in a creative way, usually through art, so that when people see what you're doing, they are in touch with their own emotions.
Perfect. So Naomi, go ahead.
I'm going to give you an example. There is a musician, or somebody who actually composes music, goes out and sees a beautiful sunset. You know, this type of sunset that moves you because the whole sky is full of colors. So he goes back home, he sits at the piano, and he composes a symphony. And everybody who is going to listen to his symphony is going to feel the emotion that he felt when he saw the sunset.
Right. That's perfect. That's a great example. Yeah.
So it allows you, and whether it's through writing, whether it's through painting, whether it's through photography, it allows you, when you read a book that makes you feel great, or maybe a book that makes you feel sad, but at least it connects you with your emotions.
Right. It's empowering.
Sorry?
I said it's empowering, right?
Exactly.
It empowers you.
Exactly. Yeah. And having the ability to do that, like I see it on this hand, Naomi has the ability to create something that are going to help people be in touch with their emotions. I think it's something beautiful, and I cannot let it pass. Okay. So what happens is sometimes there is a little bit of a girdle of Venus. It's broken. So it means that the person has the sensitivity, but doesn't necessarily have the power to create something. So able to tap into the emotion of people, but not creative enough, or not being able to actually put something out so that other people can connect to that.
Excellent. So Naomi, if you're listening in, hopefully this will be something that can help you out with moving forward. So stop biting your nails, and we'll we're gonna take a small commercial break right now. And when we come back, Frederique is going to share with us. We have a couple more poems that she's going to share with us, and she's also going to tell us what strengths and weaknesses are, through our poems, what our strengths and weaknesses are, and point us in the right direction in order to find happiness. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
Lisa Ouellet is honored to assist you as you move forward from imprisonment to empowerment. Individual intuitive sessions are available in person, by telephone, or via Skype. Visit www.lisaouellet.com. While there, you can also find information about 1-hour and half-hour Reiki sessions, life coaching, and tuning into your intuition classes. These classes will help you learn to trust your intuition and tune into yourself more easily. Mention that you heard about us on Empowering Your Soul and receive 10% off your next session. Visit lisaouellet.com today. We all hold a spiritual database, as it were, within our hearts and souls. But at times, it can be difficult to access this resource. On Akashic Therapy, Unlock the Records of Your Soul, host Amanda Romania will help you to tap into this valuable part of our subconscious. Once you've done this, you can open up your life to a far greater happiness like you've never experienced before. Become a messenger for change and a higher purpose. Tune into Akashic Therapy, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, on the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
The Voice America 7th Wave Channel. Be extraordinary. Be the change.
You are listening to Empowering Your Soul. To reach Lisa Ouellet, you may send an email to lisaouellet@comcast.net. That's lisaouellet@comcast.net. Now, back to Empowering Your Soul.
Welcome back to Empowering Your Soul. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Lisa Ouellet. Today I have with me my guest, palmist Frederique Herel, and she's sharing with us the strengths and weaknesses of our palms and how they can help us go in the right direction in order to find happiness. It's like a roadmap to life through our palms. She was just sharing some information about Naomi's palm, and we're going to get to a couple more. I wanted to make sure that I touched base on a question, though, because I know that this is probably an important question. Frederique, what is the difference between the left hand and the right hand? Which one do you look at, or is there a difference?
There is a big difference, actually, and I look at both of them.
Okay.
So it's going to depend on whether you're right-handed or left-handed. And so if you're right-handed, the right hand will be your dominant hand, and then your non-dominant will be the other one. If you're left-handed, of course, it's going to be the opposite.
Okay.
Now, when I say right-handed is how do you sign? Do you sign with your right hand or your left hand? Because this is your identity. Because a lot of people are ambidextrous.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to assume that I'm talking to a right-handed person, so I'm going to talk about the difference between right and left. So right is your present life, what you are trying to accomplish in your life. Now, your left hand represents your last 3 lives.
Okay.
And so this is where you are coming from your left hand, going to your right hand, what you are trying to accomplish. Now, you are still a lot of your left hand. When everything is okay, you're on your right hand because this is what you decide to do. But when in time of crisis,
Exactly.
when we are sick or when we are upset, then we revert to what we have been used to for the last 3 lifetimes. So what I do is I look at both hands and I notice the changes between the right hand and the left hand.
Okay.
And this is going to show me where the person is putting his or her energy on this lifetime and where they might have some problem because they're trying to change something that is very deep-seated inside of them.
Okay. Now, do hands change? Do hands ever change?
They change all the time. And this is actually the beauty of palmistry, is to see changes. So when people come and see me, I give them some advice on how they could be more balanced, much happier if they made some change in their life. So the first thing is they can make the changes just in the way they are going to behave, but they can also change it physically and sort of rewrite their destiny on their hand by just drawing just with their finger over the line to change its shape. But it has to be first what the person really wanting to change, knowing what they want to change, putting all the effort into it, and then also helping with physically, feeling and looking at the place where they want the line to change.
Well, you have a change program that you designed, and I think we're going to save that for the last part of the show. So maybe we could just kind of table that for now, because I think that's, you call that like a tool of stimulation, right? And so we can talk about that because that's really important. I think that maybe that we could end the show with that kind of information. Is that okay to do?
This is totally okay with me.
Okay, perfect. So one other question that I did have then too, what would be the benefits of using palmistry? How could that benefit people?
Well, as I just mentioned, if they are not happy with what they have, they can always change their life. So I think it's a big, big benefit. There are also other uses. For instance, I see quite a few students, like university students, or just before they go to university, and they don't really know what they should be doing. So I can give them some advice by looking at the hand so that they don't waste time, doing some studies that they might not like this much.
Picking the wrong major or something like that.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And another, there are many uses, but another use is also relationships. And I will never tell a person whether, two people, whether they're compatible or not, because you never know what is going to happen because you can change your future. But I can tell them how they are going to behave with each other, the areas where they won't have any problem at all, and the other ones where they have to be very careful. And then I would tell them, okay, in this case, it would be more listen to him, and in this case, listen to her. So this way, if they are aware from the beginning, they're not going to think there is something wrong with the other person.
So, well, that's good if so the two people are coming in together, but could palmistry be used to find a compatible partner? Like if they didn't have the other person there with them, can you look at somebody's hand and tell if there's a compatible partner coming in for them, or?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't be able to help for that.
Okay. I didn't know because I know that there's a lot of people, sometimes you're not always going to have somebody else there with you. But so if you go in with a person that you think is compatible, then you can look at their palms together that way. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you a few after, like I had a divorce, and then for a while I had some boyfriends, and they couldn't go on a date with me unless I look at their hands. And then for a while I was saying, too bad, no, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And then in the year 2000, I took the prints of this really nice guy, and we've been together for 14 years now.
Excellent. So good for you. You used it as an empowerment tool.
Oh, yes.
How about sharing with us one of the other palms that you have there?
Okay. So I am going to choose, let's look at Jeanne. What do you think?
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Jeanne has very interesting hands. Actually, everybody has interesting hands. In her case, what's happening is she has a wide hand, much wider. And when I'm talking about wide hand, and this is a way you may want to measure in your palms, like all the listeners, to find out whether you have a wide hand, you take the width of your palm, and then you measure it against the width, the length of your medium finger, the middle finger. And if the width is slightly wider, like if the hand is wider than the length of the finger, you have wide palms and wide hand, I would say. And if it's the opposite, you would have more narrow palm and then long fingers. So you would know that you have a narrow palm and long fingers.
Okay.
So in the case of Jeanne, we can see that she has actually a wide hand with relatively short fingers, relatively. So the wide hand would make her very active, very action-oriented, as opposed to just being a daydreamer and waiting for life to happen.
Okay.
And the fact that she has relatively short fingers make her a very quick thinker. So, for instance, she would be very good as a talk show host. Okay. Because she would be very good at asking questions and finding how to reorganize her thoughts or her questions depending on the reaction of the host.
Okay, so good.
I think this has something to do with the person I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Would you like to say who this one is?
Oh, sure. This was me, everybody.
Yes.
So good to know. I am a quick thinker, and talk show host is a good choice for me, right?
Yeah. And another thing that I can see on those hands is the texture is very fine. And when you touch those hands, and I couldn't touch them because I've never seen this person.
Right. We've only been communicating through Skype.
I can tell the hand is very soft. Sometimes you have hands that are very hard or they're very grainy, all the little ridges around the hands. Right. And in this case, this person's hand is very soft. So it makes her very sensitive. And being able to feel what other people feel.
Well, that is true.
Are very intuitive, too.
Well, thank you for that confirmation. I have 6 planets in Pisces, so I'm very sensitive. All right, great. And so we used my middle name for that. So thank you for sharing that, my palm. Do you want me to ask you some other questions, or would you like to go into the last palm that we have as well, too?
Why don't we do the last palm, and then after I can give more comments.
Absolutely.
Depending on what happens.
I think we have about 5 minutes left before we go into our commercial break. So
okay, so I'll try to go faster.
No, that's fine. No, I'm just letting you know. That's fine.
We are going to talk about Patty right now. And Patty, the reason why I talked earlier about the shape of the hands, in this hand you are going to see a very long palm. So when I'm talking, I'm really talking about the length. When you look at the top and bottom, the palm is going to be more rectangular as opposed to Jeanne's hands, which was more square. So a long palm, but at the same time, very short fingers. So this makes the person relatively intuitive, focused on a lot of thinking process. But because the hands, the fingers are very short, this is expressed very quickly. So this is what I call an action-oriented hand. So a lot of people who are leaders, a lot of people who need to make, marketing decisions, so they need to have a very strong thinking process, which is through the long palm, and then they need to act very fast. And this is what Patty's hand is like. So I don't know what Patty does for a living, but it would be interesting to find out.
Yeah. So Patty, if you are listening and you want to write to me after and let me know what it is that you do, please feel free. And I'll pass that information along.
Yeah, I'm always so interested in finding out more about the people whose hand I'm reading.
Absolutely. Now, did you have more to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, do we have a few seconds more?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is I haven't talked too much about the major lines. So we have 3 major lines. We have the one that goes around the ball of the thumb, which is the lifeline. We have the headline, which is basically in the middle of the hand, horizontal. And then we have the heart line, which is just under the fingers. So these are major lines, and they represent body, mind, and emotions. And in the case of Patty, there is a big gap at the place where usually the lifeline and the headline join, which is the area between the thumb and the index finger. And if you look at those 2 lines, there is a big gap between the 2 lines, and on both hands.
And what does that mean?
Okay, what it means that there's a person for whom freedom is extremely important. They are free spirit. They really like to do their own thing. They are not afraid to try new things. But they have to be careful when they are with people because they are there's so much energy. They are so willing to go in one direction that sometimes they forget to make sure that other people are okay with it. So they are very, as I say, full of energy, ambition, doing their own thing, but sometimes they are not aware enough of the needs of other people. So if they're in a team, for instance, it's very important that they realize that this is what their weakness is, and when they deal with other people, always make sure, okay, is this okay with you too?
Perfect.
So this is the main advice I would give this person.
Okay, so if you have other listeners, so Patty, if you're listening in, hopefully this was helpful for you. If anybody, Patty or Naomi, would like a further in-depth reading, you can always contact Frederique for a longer reading. I know that I'm going to be contacting you. We wanted to wait till after the show, but you're going to be hearing from me to schedule an appointment because I'd like an in-depth reading as well too. And again, that's www.palm-reading.org. And but if any of the listeners out there were following along, and that some of that made sense to them, then you can certainly contact Frederique as well too. What about if a lifeline is short? Does that mean that people? I know a lot of people ask me. Does that mean that people are going to die young if your lifeline is short?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all, and this is actually a very important question because so many people are afraid of it. But the length of the line is more how much energy you're putting in your life. And if you have what is called a destiny line, which is a line that is that may be starting from the bottom of the hand, and going towards your middle finger, then this would take over a line that would be shortened. So you don't have to worry. It can happen, for instance, if there is a change of how a person is using his body. For instance, if the person used to be an athlete and then they turn into a coach later on. So, of course, they're not going to use their body the same way. And it's going to be more like, it becomes more like a path and a way of applying more like a goal energy.
Okay.
And so in this case, it's very, very, very rare that a person would actually die at a young age if the line stops, because usually there are always other lines that are going to take over.
Okay, now what if your lifeline goes around the side of your hand? Like not only if it's short, but if it goes all the way over the side of your hand, does that mean that you're going to live into your hundreds, or?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
As I don't know if I have mentioned it, you can actually change your lines at any time you want.
That's right, and we're going to talk about the change. Okay.
Exactly. So it just means that you have a strong desire to live very harmoniously. So you're putting all the energy you can to make sure that your body is always balanced.
Okay. So I know we only have like 2 minutes before we have to take a break, but can you tell us what initially got you started into palm reading? How did you? Is that something you can answer in a short amount of time? Okay.
Oh yes, I was always interested in hands, but I'd never done anything about it. And then in 1988, I lost my father and my brother within 3 months of each other.
Oh wow, I'm so sorry.
And it really created a big void, and I wanted to understand. So I started to be a lot more interested in things that were not acceptable in my family before.
Right.
And like my two sisters did exactly the same. They went into astrology in their case. I went into palmistry just to try to find out, okay, what is life about? You know, what's happening? How can we make changes in our life instead of just accepting it the way it is? So this was a big, big shock in my life that turned into something extremely positive.
Oh, well, so again, you took a situation that it was kind of a negative, with a negative connotation, and you turned it around to empower yourself.
Yes.
That's I love it. I love stories of empowerment because palmistry is extremely empowering. You make changes like you said, we're talking about the changes. We're going to talk about that in just a moment after the break, but it allows you to do what you want, but it's kind of like a roadmap, right? Like you're looking at your palms, and it's like a roadmap to kind of show you where you've been and where you could go.
Exactly. And the wonderful thing about palmistry is that you have your hands with you all the time.
That's right.
So you can have a reminder at every minute of your life.
Perfect. So we're going to just stop here for a moment, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break. If you're on my host page, you can follow me, all my links right there for Twitter, for Facebook, for YouTube, for all the places that I'd love for you to get in touch with me. Contact me at my website, www.lisawouellet.com. And again, we're talking with Frederique Herel, and she can be reached at www.palm-reading.org. And we'll be back after this break.
The Seventh Wave Channel on the Voice America Network.
Lisa Ouellet is honored to assist you as you move forward from imprisonment to empowerment. Individual intuitive sessions are available in person, by telephone, or via Skype. Visit www.lisawouellet.com. While there, you can also find information about 1 hour and half-hour Reiki sessions, life coaching, and tuning into your intuition classes. These classes will help you learn to trust your intuition and tune into yourself more easily. Mention that you heard about us on Empowering Your Soul and receive 10% off your next session. Visit lisawouellet.com today.
Step into the doorway to conscious choice, greater health, and well-being. Attain the balance that you've been seeking. Tune in and turn on 1111 Talk Radio. Feed the mind. Embrace positively. Release the tension. Step out of fear. Host Simran Singh will help you broaden your mind and open your heart toward a greater understanding of how to take charge of your life. 1111 Talk Radio is here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on 7th Wave Network. 1111 Talk Radio, because shift happens. Be visionary. Be extraordinary. Be the change. This is the 7th Wave Channel on the Voice America Network.
You are listening to Empowering Your Soul. To reach Lisa Ouellet, you may send an email to lisawillett@comcast.net. That's lisawillett@comcast.net. Now, back to Empowering Your Soul.
Welcome back to Empowering Your Soul. Thank you for tuning in now. If you're just coming into the show with us now, I'm talking with Frederique Herel. She's a palmist from Canada. And right before the commercial break, she had gone over a couple more palms with us. She was kind enough to read mine as well, and I will be calling in for a further in-depth reading. We have a little bit more time here to talk about a couple of things. She's going to tell us about the change program that she has, but I wanted to make sure that we kind of touched base on this because I think it's important. We talked about it and we just touched on it a little bit, but Frederique, you made a comment earlier about telling the future, and I know that that's important to get across to listeners out there, that palm reading is not telling the future, right? You can tell maybe a little bit about your past life by looking at your left hand, but I know you had an important point to make about the future, so you want to share that?
Yes, I'm really interested. I also want to make the point that some people are actually good at telling the future, and I don't want to say that all palmists are like me, but I really, from my experience, what I've seen is that even if you have let's call it a bad hand, you can actually change it. And I have seen amazing changes on people's hands when they decide to change. The thing is, you have to empower yourself to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Right. Now, you created this program, right? It's called the Change Program, and it's about creating new lines in a new life, right? Yes. So this is fascinating to me. I wanted to save this towards the end. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
Okay, I created this program. I created sort of a full program, but you can still apply it without going completely inside the whole thing. The program is actually based on both the activation, I would say, of the lines, like touching the lines, and a DVD that I prepared with hypnosis on it. It's actually more like a meditation. And what I do is first I have to identify, so I have to look at your hands before we start the program, so that I can tell you exactly which lines to change and how to change them. And then what you do, on a regular basis, at least 3 times a week, you listen to the recording, which tells you, it puts you in a very nice mood, very relaxing mood.
Okay.
But you're not completely hypnotized. And then you take either a pen or your finger or like something. It can be a crystal. It can be a magnet.
Like a pendulum or something?
Yeah, and you sort of draw on your hands the new lines that you want. So that's why you have to make sure that the lines, like don't draw any lines not knowing what they mean. Okay. Because it is powerful. You're actually carving your own destiny.
Oh.
And I've seen people change like tremendously. I am putting on my website. It's under, so the change program is if you go to the main page, it's going to on the left. It's going to say change your lines.
Okay.
So if you click there, you are going to go to the change program, and then you'll be able to see how lines have changed. Like lines that were not there have actually appeared.
Fascinating.
And I find every time I see a change in the hand, so you can change your hand just by changing your attitude, which is great to start with, because you have to understand. A lot of what I do is by empowering people is I just make them aware. something that they might not even know that they are doing or the way they are thinking. So first is making them aware, and then I say, if you don't like the way it is now, this is how you can change it. So maybe a different way of reacting, and then especially when things are going wrong, the choices that you have, and then if you decide to go with a change program, you can actually listen, like I say, about 3 times a week, and just redraw your lines.
That's amazing. It's so fascinating to me because, like, even family members, your palms are there with you. Oh, clearly your palms are there with you. But I mean, the lines in your palms, everybody's different. No two palms are alike. So even if family members look alike or act alike or whatever, their palms are going to be completely different, right? So
you're still going to, like, this is another thing that I do. For instance, mother and daughter or siblings or whatever, I still can compare. And very often you're going to see very similar things in the hands.
Okay.
But as you say, depending on how they react, and sometimes they are so similar. When people are too similar,
yes,
it doesn't work well.
Well, that's true, right?
Yeah.
It just fascinates me because, I mean, again, like I'm saying, I'm just sitting here and thinking about what you're saying, and I'm processing it in my mind, and I'm like, okay, so you're born, and you have this roadmap that you're born with, and you're talking about changing, and I'm thinking to myself, if you don't like something in the way that your life is going, you can draw a line and change it, and with your attitude and with that's incredibly empowering. I'm just overwhelmed by how much power that gives the person. Yeah,
I have a handprint. Unfortunately, I cannot put it on my website because it's protected. The handprint, you see the changes. It's a person who did the work like every day for a year, and the new hands don't even look like the old hands. They even the shape of the palm actually changed.
Wow.
And lines that were not there. So that's why when I see people with a line that is, a growing line or something that is there, but it's not completely there, I tell them, okay, work on that. But this guy was actually able to create lines that were not there. Like, for me, it's totally amazing. Like, he decided he was going to be a different person.
Wow.
And of course, he turned into somebody wonderful.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for being the conduit to help this person. And, for anybody else listening out there, gosh, I'm sorry our time is running so short here. I could do, oh God, we might even have to have you back on the show. There were so many questions we didn't even get to. I'm glad you were able to read some of the palms online. And again, like as I mentioned before, if you're a listener out there and you sent one in and it didn't get read on the air, certainly feel free to contact Frederique and schedule a one-on-one session with her. She can do it through Skype, through the phone, and she reads in French and English. So it has been my great pleasure to have you on the show, and you've been so informative. Thank you, Frederique, for being my guest today.
Oh, thank you so much for actually inviting me, for finding me and bringing me to your show. This was really amazing for me, too.
Excellent. So if you're listening after the show, in an hour or so, our show will be, now it's live now, but it'll be up on the host page, and you can catch it on my website or on my show page, and you can listen in, share with your friends if they're interested in anything palmistry related. This is a great show to have. So thank you again for being my guest, Frederique.
Oh, you're most welcome.
You'll be hearing from me shortly.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. So I'm going to just do, to close up the show, I just wanted to do a card reading for the week coming up. It is going to be, I think I want to do it a little different. I want to do from Friday to Friday. Instead of starting the week from Sunday to Saturday like I do, I'm going to do from September 26th to October 2nd. I'm shuffling the cards now. I'm using Doreen Virtue's deck. I love her decks. And I'm using Healing with the Fairy deck. So let's see. Pulling 3 cards. Just kind of fell out over here for me. Be honest with yourself is card number 1. Kick up your heels is the second card. And happily ever after. Okay, so for the week starting today, what I'm feeling is, okay, be honest with yourself. You're not being 100% truthful about something, even to yourself, is what they're saying. You might be hiding your true feelings, and this may be due to not wanting to accept a situation. Sometimes it's easier to live in denial if you've been doing it for a long, long time. You may know it's unhealthy, but it could be comfortable to you if you've been used to not speaking your truth. It could be that you're afraid to feel hope for something that you desire because you can't really see any reasonable way to attain your goal. This could be making you feel angry, tired, depressed, or just plain stuck. Those are some of the symptoms that our body gives us when we aren't being honest with ourselves. And, our friends and our family members, they may have good intentions, and they may be seeing stuff that we're not by trying to get us to see what they already do. But we don't always have to see what they're seeing. And it doesn't have to be a confrontation with others or make radical life changes to be honest with us. I'd suggest starting slow. Go outside if you can and have a silent conversation with your angels or a higher power, whoever you believe in. Tell them everything you've been thinking, feeling, or experiencing or struggling with lately, and ask them to help you to get in touch with and acknowledge your true deep feelings. You can honestly, safely speak your truth to yourself. Nobody's judging you except for you. And be honest with others too, and yourself, about all you've been experiencing. That's what I'm feeling about that. Kick up your heels. And they're saying it's time to start having some fun in your life again. Your soul's longing for fun and celebration. It thrives on that. It wants an exciting adventure, like throwing a party or getting friends together for a night of music and dancing, or going out of town for a weekend getaway, or if you can't even do that, just simply going to a girlfriend's house and having a girls' night. Drink a bottle of wine, kick up your heels, take off your shoes and share stories with each other. Come on, ladies, you're never too old to have a slumber party. That's what I always say. Have a girls' night out and throw out the blankets on the floor and, just talk until the night and unburden your soul. I know life gets in the way sometimes. We feel like we can't find the time to do this. They're just not enough money, or our spouse won't approve of something, or there's always a reason, there's always time, but they want you to make time for what your soul needs now, okay? So it's an investment in your future. Don't wait for your friends to suggest this. Just take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and plan something for yourself. You're a lot of fun to be around. Don't forget that. You just might have been too busy with your kids, your family, or your work situation, and you might sometimes forget that it's important to incorporate joy and fun and laughter into your lives on a regular basis. So try this maybe twice a month on a minimum and see if you don't feel any better. Start planning it now for this weekend maybe coming up. I'm planning on going to the fair today, so that's a perfect example. I'm going to kick up my heels and have fun with my friends. And happily ever after, this is a great last card. It's a perfect outcome card. It's for the spread. It indicates a happy outcome is assured. Release your fears and anxiety and know that Spirit has your back. Everything in the end is resolved to your satisfaction or better than you could have imagined. They're always trying to get you to something good or better than what you can only envision. Misunderstandings are cleared up and forgiven. Mistakes are forgotten. Guilt wiped away. So stop worrying about things, about your future. You know the saying, like attracts like, right? So if you start believing that all is great, soon you'll be attracting that energy to you. It's a vibration. The law of attraction's at work for sure. Your worry and fears could be working against you, and the universe has in store for you a better plan. So adapt an attitude of gratitude is what I like to say, and be thankful for what Spirit is telling you today. Things are going to work out for you in the end if it just requires you to have some hope and some faith in something bigger than you. So looks like a great week ahead. Being honest with yourself and bringing more fun and joy into our lives and knowing a happy outcome is on its way. I'm certainly excited for this week, and I hope you are as well. So next week, I'm going to have with me as a guest, I'm very excited about this, owner and creator of The Unknown, medium Debbie Raymond Panett. She's going to be on my show with me, and we're going to be talking about the TV pilot The Unknown that I'm also a part of. Very, very excited. She's going to share some upcoming events that we have coming up with the audience, with the listeners, and also going to tell the listeners how to purchase tickets and be part of our live filmed events that we have going on, and so much more. So it's sure to be an exciting show for sure to start October. I'm very excited to start October. It's my favorite month of the year, Halloween and everything. And I'm hoping towards the end of the month, I'm hoping maybe for the October show to do live readings. So I'll be giving out that number to have people calling in. And we'll be doing a fun, exciting Halloween show. I've started YouTube videos, so please follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And you have more information on how to reach me. I'm offering a special if you listen to the show and you mention this show, you get a special discount if you're calling to get a reading. And again, I'm so happy to have with me Frederique Herel today on the Palmistry show. You can certainly get in touch with her. I know I'm going to do so. And I want to thank everybody for listening in. It's always my pleasure to hear from you. Please contact me if there's a show topic that you'd like to hear about, or if you just want to give me comments about the show, what you liked, what you didn't, about the readings. Again, I'm continuing to get positive feedback about the readings I give at the end of the show. So thank you for that. Keep it coming, and have a great weekend, everybody. TGIF.
Thank you for listening to Empowering Your Soul. Please be sure to join Lisa Ouellet for another engaging program next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave channel. This week, stop feeling imprisoned and start being empowered.